All right, next in our series on pressing, let's talk about what you can press and what you can't. You cannot press out a defect that breaks color, period, ever. That means if it's a spine tick, crease, bend, fold, etc. that has broken the color and the ink is missing, moved, or damaged at all, you cannot press that out, ever. Zero chance. So if anytime someone tells you a book just needs a press, clearly ask if the defects on it are color breaking. If they tell you anything other than no, it does not break color, you probably want to bail on that deal. I don't think so, it doesn't look like it to me, and every other vagary that gives them room to rip you off is a no-go. Steer clear of anything that isn't a clear no, unless you're okay with a lower grade book that can never move past a certain ceiling. Hulk 181 with a color breaking crease, still pretty valuable. Omega Men #1 with a color breaking crease, it's a $1 bin book or less, even with no other defects on the book. Color breaking defects, pressing will not fix them. You're watching a lot of sellers, I see it a lot on Whatnot, where I see this happen most often. They will say it so often it's sickening. They'll say almost every book, oh, this just needs a press. Oh, this just needs a press. And it's clearly a color breaking defect that is not going to press out. So please be careful. Tears clearly break color. A press is not going to fix any tears. A press will not fix any staining damage, water or otherwise. It can potentially help with the rippling from moisture, but it will not fix the actual damage and discoloration from fluids. So what can you press? Most mild folds or bends. An actual crease takes some advanced work to repair. It is possible, but it's a lot more than a simple press and requires a whole different set of tools than just a press. Most creases will break color anyhow, if you're talking about an actual crease in something. But if one didn't break color in theory, you could press it with some other, again, advanced repair, comic book CPR techniques that we can talk about in the future. And it's not always 100%. A lot of times when you're trying to repair these, you can end up damaging the book, which kind of defeats the whole purpose. Most spine ticks can be pressed to a degree. The most severe spine ticks that will be difficult and require several trips through the process are the ones that potentially are right on that border of breaking color or are really indented. But your typical spine tick is easily pressable. It's actually the easiest defect to spot and probably the easiest defect to press. And so when you're talking about pressing a comic, if you're talking about spine ticks that don't break color, yes, you can absolutely press out spine ticks, and they usually press out pretty easy. So in the last video, we kind of talked costs. I decided to get into pressing because I sent a lot of books in. I want those higher grades so that I can flip those books for maximum profit, and that helps fund the rest of the other books that I want to buy over time. The investment in the press for me made sense from that standpoint. For you, it may not. So just think if the $250 to $300 for a full press setup will be worth your time and investment. Back to what you can press. We talked about spine ticks and color breaking items. But what about bends or folds? Again, anything not color breaking that you have a great chance of pressing out. I've kind of had some pictures on screen here of things that you can press and things that you can't as I was talking about them. So you can get a good idea when you're looking at a book. If I had this, would it be pressable? Would it actually be something that I could get rid of on this book as a defect so that I wouldn't have the worst grade or worst value for this book? And is it worthwhile to buy it in that case? A lot of times you can buy books with slight damage, and it makes it worthwhile to buy it at that lower price that you pay for that lower grade when you can repair that damage to that book and send it in. So if it's something that you're looking at doing, that's the way you have to kind of take that into account. It's also worthwhile for your collection if you're able to get into pressing, because it makes the books in your own collection much more valuable when they have that better appearance. You want them to have the best appearances possible typically. I know there's some people that cherish coverless books that are torn to shit, but the majority of us want our books to look nice and fresh and crisp, and so this pressing helps you get there. In the next video, we'll actually talk a little bit more in detail about sending books out to press, having other people do the pressing for you, and should you have CGC do your pressing for you.